crowd for Rec Hall standards, but it's going to be bigger than anything LIU has seen since they started the season here in 2013. When you look at the schedule, common opponents for Penn State and LIU, they both played Florida earlier in the season. Penn State beat Florida 3-0, clean sweep of the #9 team in the country. LIU did fall to Florida 3-1, so that's the common ground for both these teams, although it was very early in the season. When you come in here to Rec Hall, no matter who is on the other side, Penn State always has the advantage because of where they are in the history here.
LIU Brooklyn's conference championship game in front of a crowd of 300 people. That probably has almost that alone in the student section tonight at Penn State. A hostile environment, good crowd on hand. Not the craziest crowd we've ever seen here in the first time, but a pretty good crowd. As we get set to start it out, starting lineup tonight for the Blackbirds of LIU Brooklyn, coming 23-7, undefeated in NEC conference play. Nicole Okeke, Mirjana Ryan, Adriana Vinas-Joy, Annika Hoyt, Vera Juric, Jessica Rice, and Tamara Ignat. As for Penn State, it's McClendon, Asia McClendon, Katie Slay, Ariel Scott, Megan Courtney, Micah Hancock, and Dominique Gonzalez. Micah Hancock starts off with an ace, and that's how you do it, Mike.
Well, that's how you do it, and that's how she does it. She's done it all year. She's done it her whole career here at Penn State. But she does kind of be over-aggressive at times to get service errors. That's what she wants to get away from in the NCAA tournament.
LIU sent a free ball over, but it looks like we had a double contact call. Penn State has 2 consecutive points to start it out.
And this seems pretty obvious, but it has to be said if you're analyzing what LIU Brooklyn needs to do to win today. You cannot have any errors. You cannot let Penn State get any free points.
There's no room for error. Over pass, Scott has to go, and Blackbirds seem to get a little bit lucky there as Riot comes up with it.
Those are the plays you need to win. You need to have plays that maybe don't make sense or are looked at as lucky plays and take advantage of them, especially in the early going here. You cannot dig yourself in a hole here in the first set on the road.
Vinas-Joy, jump serve. Slay with a little change-up. LIU equal to the task. Here's Scott, dug out again. And a kill for Tamara Ignat. And that's how you respond when you come in here, Mike.
It is, and there's a lot of players on this LIU team that can get involved. Ignat is one of them. She had 342 kills in the season, 15 in the conference championship game against Central Connecticut State. There's another player, Annika Foyt. She had 369 on the season, 18 against Central Connecticut State.
And miscommunication. Micah Hancock set too high for Katie Slay. And Russ Rose can't be happy with that. Common theme, you don't want to give points away to a team that you know you should handle pretty easily.
Especially when it's a team like LIU that is considerably smaller. They only have 2 players over 6 foot. That'll probably be a theme in the later parts of this match.
Hancock keeps it alive. And off the block of LIU Brooklyn. A kill for Ariel Scott. And Penn State knocks it up again at 3. Deja McClendon back to the line.
10 players for Penn State over 6 foot, if you want to compare that to what LIU has. So the size advantage should be what allows Penn State to dominate, but if you're unable to rotate as they are there, at least on the defensive back line, that's when you start to get yourself in trouble. It is early, but that's just kind of the laydown here for these 2 teams as far as the height is concerned, because Penn State has 4, 5, 6 players they can put at the net that should dominate anyone LIU puts in front of them.
Courtney, dug out by LIU. Coming back is Ignat. Scott. And the lefty, Foyt, gets it down. Another point for LIU Brooklyn. And they got a 2-point lead coming in here, Mike. And they are, we saw it in warm-ups. They looked like they were ready to go. They are playing with house money. They've got nothing to lose and nothing to hold back.
And their passing right now is what's doing it. they are making Penn State think, and it looks like overthink, because they aren't rotating well enough, are the Nittany Lions right now.
Jurich just sends it over. Slay the other way. Blocked. But it falls on the LIU end, and a point for the Nittany Lions. Substitutions via Grant comes back in.
Not many teams can bring off a 6'6" player and bring on a 6'4" player. Not many teams can have the size that Penn State does. That's how you beat teams in the first and second round of the tournament.
NEC, LIU, a team that has had success in the NEC. Ariel Scott gets the kill to equal it up 5-5 here in the first set. 8 of the last 10 years, they have won the NEC Conference Championship. Finished undefeated in conference play this year at 14-0. Ended the year on a 10-game winning streak. They're playing well. They're hot right now, and they don't care what number ranking is in front of Penn State's name.
Yeah, there's not many teams that can come in with as impressive match streak numbers that Penn State brings. Obviously, the competition level is a little lesser for LIU Brooklyn, but still, one set since early October is a big deal when you're playing Division I women's volleyball. And usually only the top 2 or 3 teams in the country can say that. LIU is playing well. They're prepared for this match here tonight. It's going to be tougher than people think. I think a lot of people are expecting one of those hour and 5-minute matches, 3-setters. That could be the case in 3 sets, but I think LIU is going to give Penn State fits. It's going to be close for these first couple sets before Penn State can get in a rhythm.
This is a good team, 23-7 overall, as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast. This is a little bit different than Binghamton, maybe, who came in last year in the first round, and Penn State went in the third set on a 23-0 run to start it out, which was a record at the time for Penn State. It's going to be a little bit tougher in the first round. It already is, 7-6.
Oh, it certainly is. The parity in women's volleyball, I think, is growing. There's a lot of good teams, top to bottom. You look at the rankings, there are an abundance of Big Ten teams in the top 25. There's an abundance of teams that can get in this tournament and not only be in it, but make a run. And we saw that last year. Michigan made a deeper run than people thought. A lot of teams can contend outside of maybe the top 1 or 2 teams in the country. There's a lot of equality between the teams, and LIU fits that billing for as far as the mid-majors that won their conferences.
And a one-on-one block there on the attempt. The Blackbirds get another point, and they take an 8-7 lead. Sydney Asuncion makes her first appearance. And they're going to go to serve, and she'll do it again right now. And how about that LIU block? That's 2 straight possessions. That one-on-one blocks get it done for LIU Brooklyn right there. It's points.
I'll tell you what, Phil, they're prepared because they knew that was coming. They smelled that out before Penn State even knew where they were going with the ball. And you got to credit the coaching. Kyle Robinson, 6-year coach, one of the better young minds in women's volleyball. Scouting report is on point right now for LIU because they are right where Penn State wants to be and feels like they'd be in an advantage almost every time.
And he was walking out on the court before this match tonight. He looked cool. He looked calm, collected. He does right now. His team got another point. And he's lapping it up and confident with how his team's performing. They're up 10-7, and Asuncion will serve again. Out of the back row. That was Ignich. Penn State the other way, sliding dig. Asuncion will set the lefty Foyt. Penn State there. Courtney is getting eaten up early, as that will actually count for Penn State. Went out off the LIU block.
That one was unfortunate, went out, but again, it was a perfect read by LIU. Obviously, you get the point there if you're Penn State, you like that. But you do have to be concerned that you're going back to your bread and butter, which is not only that with Megan Courtney, but with Deja McClellan, she likes this side as well. And they're reading you perfectly almost every time, at least in the early going.
Hancock sets McClendon. Block in place again. Trying to change it up, go off a short set, and LIU keeps it alive. But a clear hitting error by Ignich, and that's one of those that maybe you should just settle and play over with 2 hands. You're not putting a lot of pace you're not fooling anybody with your feet set in the back row.
Yeah, those are the plays where you get a little too excited. She wanted to get something over for LIU, and that's what you learn from in the early going here. You have to play under control. You have to play aggressive as well, and you have to credit LIU for how aggressive they're playing. It does not look like they are the seed that they are in this tournament and on the road. It looks like they're at home in the NEC and playing just another match, and I think that is the mindset you have to take in a match like this. You might not win, but you can play well. You're a good team, and LIU certainly is.
Asia McClendon steps up. A kill for McClendon. Give Penn State the serve. Cut it to 1, and McClendon, first team All-Big Ten selection again this year. Her senior campaign trying to complete that run to the national championship. They've fallen short the last couple years. Double contact called on LIU, and Penn State has tied it up with Nia Grant back to serve.
Usually for Penn State, it's one of Scott, Grant, Slay that gets going, and Courtney and the others follow. Right now, it's been a little slow for Penn State as you see them get going there, but usually it's one of those players and the rest follow suit. So you have to look at your leaders in Ariel Scott and Katie Slay and Deja McClendon and say, one of you has to step up and the rest of us will follow. And that's usually what gets it going for Penn State when they start slow or have a slow part of the match.
Another block in place for Penn State. That is 4 consecutive points, and you have to wonder if maybe this was the turning point where they finally woken up.
And LIU knows that Penn State leads the nation in blocks per set. That's what you're going to expect when you have a bunch of players over 6'2". You have to find a way to counter that. That's why you have to control possessions. You have to pass well. That's what they were doing earlier. They did it here. You have to change the pace. That's an underrated facet of volleyball, is to not go for the hard kill every time. Go for that floater shot over the net and over the front line. That's what throws teams off, because when you have that going, and Micah Hancock does it well, Katie Slay does it well for Penn State, when you have that going, it makes the opposition think, because they don't know what you're going to do. That's what LIU needs to incorporate. There's an example right there from Micah Hancock. If you can take that shot and you can use it, not a lot, but when you need to, it's going to be in the back of the opponent's mind. That makes a huge difference.
That's why Micah Hancock, the 2-time now winning Big Ten Setter of the Year, to serve again. And there's just nothing you can do to handle that, Mike.
No, that's what she does. I mean, that's why she is where she is right now in her career. And it's why Penn State has been able to go where they've been able to go in the past couple of years.
(15-13), Penn State leads it. And LIU, if you're head coach Kyle Robinson, the 3-time defending NEC Coach of the Year, you have to be happy with how this team has played.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's no better way, I don't think, that you could come in here and stay in this first set. I mean, that's exactly what you want. You want Penn State to have to go into a timeout, whether whoever called it, but you want them to say, okay, maybe we need to step our game up just a little more. Maybe this team is better than we thought. And right now, I think that's the case. They're passing well. They're making very good reads. They're sticking to the scouting report. They know what's coming. They're waiting for Penn State to do something that they haven't seen, and we saw a little bit of that in the last few points for the Nittany Lions.
And you can see the difference in these 2 huddles right now. LIU broke the huddle with about 45 seconds to go in this timeout. They are standing there waiting. Head coach Kyle Robinson has his hands on his hip. There's not much to say when you've played this well. And for Russ Rose, there's a lot to fix right now, and that's why he uses almost the entire timeout period. A 3-point lead. As we return to the action, Micah Hancock to serve. This time LIU handles it. Block from Katie Slay, rides along the net and drops right inside the sideline. And another point for the Nittany Lions, and now they have finally found that control. Penn State handles the tip. McClendon full swing. Off the LIU block, out of play, a 5-point lead, and we've seen Micah Hancock go on these runs. We've seen Micah Hancock go on a 23-point run last year, Mike.
Oh yeah,
she's
that
on
was
a good 5-6-point run right now.
And you just jinxed her on cue, but that was one of the more impressive runs, if you want to go back to that I've seen in sports. It was just pure dominance against a lesser opponent, but it was pure dominance for a very long period of time. And she can do that against the big ones too. She can do that against the bigger teams, and we've seen her do that. But for LIU, you have to kind of know, hey, we have to take advantage when Micah Hancock isn't serving, because I don't know how much you can do when she is.
And Vinyas Joy, a nice dig to keep it alive. But McClendon ends the point. That's her third of the night.
I know she's in there for passing and things like that. That's how she makes her money, per se. But she can get the ball over, and she can be a net presence. She can be a hitter. Micah Hancock is very versatile for this team. And her and Dom Gonzalez get this going. Gonzalez is a little more underrated as far as perception is concerned. Those are the two very important pieces to this team.
Paulina Prieto Sarame just into the match sends her jump serve long, and something that we didn't know she had up until a couple weeks ago, and it's been rather inconsistent, and that's why we only see it in very few moments now.
If there's one flaw with Russ Rose's team, it's the players he brings on for serve. We see Paulina Prieto Sarame come in, Maddie Martin comes in, Kendall Pierce. Some of those players aren't consistent with their serves, and that's why they're there, to kind of bring something different. But at the same time, when there comes a time where you need a switch like that, you have to have someone dependable. And you work through it in the conference play and in the early parts of the NCAA tournament. But Prieto Sarame, if they can get her consistent somehow by the third, fourth round, that is a huge weapon.
Net violation on Penn State. 15 serving 18. It's Zurich. Set for Courtney. She's blocked. She's really struggling on the near side over here. Zurich sets up KK, punches it over, and eventually LIU lands the point. 16 serving 18.
You talk about Megan Courtney and her struggles thus far. She only has 2 kills, which seems like it's, not very low, but how many opportunities she's gotten at the net? She should have more. And that goes back to LIU knowing where she's at. She likes that spot on the floor. They're going back to her now.
And the diving dig attempt by Jurek goes out of play off of the Megan Courtney kill. Courtney's third tonight. And 19-16, Dom Gonzalez to serve. Gonzalez looks like he may have jammed a thumb. LIU going quick at it, and McClendon almost kept it alive, but goes into the crowd. And a point for the Blackbirds.
As fast as this team can hit the ball at Penn State, the way LIU is returning it is very impressive. They're not seeming shell-shocked at all by the power Penn State brings.
Megan Courtney off the block. Another kill for her. That's 4. 2017.
I think she's the most important part to Penn State moving forward, because if you're Deja McClendon, Ariel Scott, Katie Slay, Nia Grant, you've been here before. You've been dependable before. Megan Courtney is a freshman last year. It didn't end the way they wanted to. She is very, very key to a late, deep run for Penn State, because now she's experienced. Now they have a player they can count on that knows what it's like. You have 4 or 5 weapons like that up front. Penn State will be hard to knock off. I think it's a little different from last year now that she has that experience.
Timeout on the floor. LIU took this one. They trail Penn State 2017 in the first set. We'll step aside for a quick break. back at Rec Hall along with Mike Essie. I'm Phil Constantino. First round of the NCAA tournament as the LIU Brooklyn Blackbirds are giving Penn State, the number 2 seed overall, Penn State, all they can handle. And another point for LIU. They're down by 2, 18-20 in the first set. This is not something you would expect from Penn State in a first-round matchup when you're playing one of the lowest-seeded teams to qualify for the tournament.
Kyle Robinson seems prepared, Phil. I think that's obvious. Their timeouts, the amount of time they're taking their timeouts is like 20, 25 seconds. There was about 50 seconds left in the clock when they broke their last timeout. They know exactly what they have to do to beat this team. I'd love to know what Kyle Robinson has prepared, but they're prepared. The scouting report is staying true for them right now, and that's what they're sticking with.
As that possession worked out because of Edenich slipping and falling. But they really have played well, Mike. As Kendall Pierce just into the match to serve for Russ Rose's squad. Overpass, Hancock handles it. 22-18. Pierce will do it again.
This is an important sequence for Penn State long-term should they get out of this match. This is the player that they need on the floor to be effective in matches.
As McClendon comes up with the block, LIU keeps it alive. They'll send the 3-ball over. Fuller. Hancock tries to take a go at it. And she's blocked.
You don't see that a lot from Micah Hancock. When she comes up to the net, she usually doesn't get denied. She did there. Good serving from Kendall Pierce. That's something to note for Penn State as Megan Courtney comes back on. Lacey Fuller also on the floor. She's one of those hustle, gritty players that Russ Rhodes likes to bring on in tight situations. See how she responds and see how she flows into this match.
The service from Foyt. Gets the dig off the McClendon attempt. Blocked by Penn State. LIU sets it up. Egnich back to Foyt. And a net violation on the Nittany line. 22-20. Foyt back to serve again.
And this is exactly what we were alluding to at the beginning of the match. LIU is going to stay in these sets very, very late. And it's the passing, it's coming up from the back line, the rotation's well right now. They're playing pretty sound.
Rhea Grant with the kill. Katie Slay comes back on. Penn State 23-20, 2 points away from closing out this first set.
See, that's my biggest worry if I'm Kyle Robinson, because you're not going to be able to stop a play like that. There's just no way you have anything that can stop Nia Grant or Katie Slay coming over the net.
As the block rides along the net, goes out of bounds here to the scorer's table, and Penn State has set point 24-20. It's Nia Grant. And the service from Grant goes into the net, 24-21 now. And
obviously under different circumstances, but we've seen Penn State in matches at Rec Hall have leads late in sets and give them up, notably the Michigan State loss that Penn State had earlier here at Rec Hall. They sometimes have a tendency to do that.
Slay still falls, and that'll do it for the first set. Penn State wins it 25-21. Two teams will switch sides. Russ Rose probably still has a lot of talking to do to his squad, Mike.
Oh, absolutely. They could win the set 25-3 and still have a lot of talking to do. He knows the ins and outs of how you win an NCAA tournament, and that's what he's trying to preach in the early goings of this tournament, first, second round here at home. He wants his team to play flawless, and there's a lot that goes into that. Right now, maybe LIU is a little more than what they expected, but they have to switch things up at the net. I think that'd be the one recommendation right now if I was Russ Rose, because LIU is reading Megan Courtney, reading Deja McClendon in certain set plays that Penn State likes to go to. They're being read, and that's via the scouting report. Had a little over a week to prepare. So that's what you want to change up if you're in the timeout right now for Penn State.
Penn State takes the first set from LIU, Brooklyn 25-21. Two teams will switch sides. Penn State expects to get this one in 3 sets. That's what they do in first-round matchups. They've done it 20 of 28 times this year in the regular season. That's good for a set. 71% mark. LIU broke it. You were marking on this again during the timeout. We talked about it a little bit. They are confident. They are coming out of timeouts fast. And Kyle Robinson is standing there with his hands on his hips and right on the sideline after every timeout. And they could be a team at least maybe to end a run of straight set victories for Penn State.
Yeah, they are prepared. I think that's what you're seeing right now. They haven't taken more than 30 seconds in a timeout, even in between sets. And Kyle Robinson isn't even going out to talk to his players most of the time when they come back on the floor. They know exactly what they need to do. There's a foundation laid for this match by Kyle Robinson. And right now they're following, even though they're down 1-0.
And the service error from Vinyas Joy. Not what you'd like out of the timeout. Hancock the other way. Got quite the left arm. And credit the kill to Coit as it goes past the diving Megan Courtney. 1-1 in the second. Quick look at first half stats for Penn State. Ariel Scott, the always lethal Ariel Scott, held to just 2 kills on 7 total attempts. Leah Grant with 1, Michael Hancock 2. Megan Courtney, they went to her the most. She also got blocked quite a few times. 5 of 10, her percentage. And Basin McClendon with 3 as well. 15 total kills for the Nittany Lions. Katie Slay gets another kill, her 4th of the night to go along with 4 blocks. 5 digs for Dominique Gonzalez. That's for LIU Brooklyn. Anika Fort, they kept going to her. There's a reason why. She is, for the 2nd straight year, the NEC Player of the Year. And LIU Brooklyn takes back another point. They kept going to her. She has 8 kills. And then you look around it, and there's not a lot. Nicole KK has 2. Rihanna Riot has 2. So they've really gone through one person, unlike Penn State spreading the ball.
Yeah, I mean, it all runs through Floyd. I think that was the key for LIU Brooklyn coming into this match, was to spread the points throughout your front line, throughout the players on the floor. Foyt's one heck of a player, one heck of a student, too, a 3.97 GPA. You don't see that a lot in big-time women's volleyball. You don't see it a lot in big-time athletics either.
And a kill for Roddick. Sydney O'Smith comes on.
Now, in that first set, LIU controlled the first 8 to 10 points. That's what you need to do if you're Penn State. You cannot let them have any sort of control over this second set if you want to take it in the way they believe they should.
And Megan Courtney is blocked again. She's not having the best night. The Blackbirds back on top, 4-3. Assumption to serve again. Gonzalez judges, keeps it in play, and Grant just misses it. You're in the middle of the floor. You can't do that, Mike. Trying to maybe be a little too perfect with the touch.
Yeah, she tried to go on the sideline. It was a little too greedy. Why not go to the middle of the floor? You have all the momentum moving right into the net. Not a lot of people will be able to return that. Try to get fancy, it didn't work.
They'll go to Ariel Scott this time, and she gets it done.
That's what you want. That is what you want every time. That should be able to fall every time in that situation, especially when LIU isn't bringing more than one person to the net. If you're going one-on-one, they're not going to be able to stop you with all the momentum like that if you're the big players Penn State has.
Lacey Fuller comes in to serve for Scott. You wonder why maybe they haven't gone for Scott a little bit more. She's the most physically imposing of those Giants up front as a hitting error, an ace for Penn State. A mishandling of the serve by LIU ties it up at 5 here in a second. Fuller again. Back set, and Fort puts it off the block.
She is playing right into her strengths right now. You go back to Ignich, the miss hit from her. That's the second time she's just straight up missed the return. You cannot have that. It cannot be an issue for LIU. You have to be able to pass well.
Boyd to serve, the first one to double-digit kills tonight. Here's Grant. Tucks it inside the back line. 6 serving 6, back and forth. Megan Courtney to serve.
And although it's close right now, Phil, Penn State is getting their way up front. The last few points for the Nittany Lions have been on those passes to the net with the momentum and the easy kill. That is the trend you want to see continue if you're Russ Rose.
Kendall Pierce to serve. Russ Rose giving some instructions to Megan Courtney about some tactics at the net. Pierce's floater. And credit that one to Jessica Rice. Another one of those. They dominated the NEC postseason award. Jessica Rice was another one that made first team NEC to go along with 5 other players. They have talent. And now if you get a couple other players step up, Mike, maybe you can turn this into something.
I heard someone say this earlier today, so I might steal their thunder, but LIU is the Penn State of the NEC. That's what a lot of people say. They are very, very good in that conference, and they're playing well tonight.
McClendon blocked. Fuller keeps it alive, sliding onto the other side of the floor. And Kyle Robinson takes exception to the call, and he comes over to talk with the official. That is Jung Park. And Robinson gets his explanation and gives his little encouragement to his team. 7 serving 7, and number 7, Nia Grant, to serve. Off the block, Fuller just punches it to keep it alive. McClendon. Dug out by LIU. Foyt. And the lefty sends it long. 8 serving 7, Penn State. It's Nia Grant again.
That's the first big-time error we've seen from Foyt tonight. She's played pretty sound other than that, and I'm surprised, based on the way Penn State's playing, LIU's been able to hang in this second set. They're playing much better than they did in the first as Penn State.
Grant, knuckleballer. And Foyt out of the glass row is blocked by Katie Slay, and she used all of that 6'6" height to get that one, Mike.
No, she did, and that's why she's a unanimous All-Big Ten. She's one of the better players Penn State's seen here in the past 10 years, and she can come out and just dominate a match when she wants to.
5th attempt over by Ignich, saved by Penn State. McClendon the other way, dug out by Foyt. Blocked by Slay again in the middle. There's Ignich. McClendon far side, she's blocked.
Again, I don't think you can credit that to anything other than the scouting report. They're prepared for some set plays from Penn State. They know exactly when, how, and from who these points are going to come from, and they're reading it, they're sniffing it very well.
8 serving 9. It's Vinas Joy. Dug by Gonzalez. Hancock sets Slay, and off the shoulder of Vinas Joy. And a 2-point Penn State lead as Ariel Scott comes on for Fuller.
This is an important part of the match right now, important part of this set. Micah Hancock is serving for Penn State. She can take you, as we said, she can ride you through on a five-point streak here. LIU has to find a way to respond.
And there's the ace from Hancock. And a timeout from LIU Brooklyn as they trail Penn State 11-8 in the second set. 3-point Penn State lead, 11-8 here in the second set, along with Mike Essie. I'm Phil Constantino. The first round, the 2013 NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship, number 2 overall Penn State Nittany Lions and LIU Brooklyn. Little hospitality shown during the break, Mike, playing Where Brooklyn At for LIU Brooklyn on the loudspeaker. As Micah Hancock gets another ace.
The way Kyle Robinson's responded to the past few points, he's wondering where his team is at right now because the last 5-6 points for Penn State have been pretty dominant.
I see what you did there.
I tried to make it work.
Where is Brooklyn at? Hancock just puts it long after a couple of aces. 9 serving 12 for LIU. It's Egnich back to the line. Excuse me, Jurich. And there's nothing you can do when Katie Slay is putting the ball straight down on the floor and with all the room in the world to work, Mike.
Yeah, when she has an open spot like that, you can't stop her. No one's been able to do it for 4 years, and LIU certainly isn't going to be able to figure it out tonight. Again, you go back to the smaller pieces of the game. This is important here. This is an important sequence with Paulina Prieto-Cerame serving for Penn State.
And we'll see the jump serve again. This one in the field of play. Point. Hancock digs it out. Ariel Scott runs it down by the bench, and Cerame just puts it right into the net. Another one like we spoke about before, Mike, when it's in the back row, just kind of get it over. You're not fooling anybody.
Yeah, she tried to put a little too much into that. Could have probably been a little easier to get that over. That's probably what Rush Rose is telling her right here to our left on the sideline. But it was a good serve. That's a promising sign that she was able to get it over. And she probably can put a little more juice into it as well, but she has to get it over first, and that's been a work in progress over the past 2 or 3 weeks.
Here's Artisha Jackson. Courtney blocked again. They've had her figured out today.
Oh, they absolutely have. And you look, she has 5 kills, Phil, but she's probably been blocked 5 or 6 times as well. So if it wasn't for the ability of 2 players to get in front of Megan Courtney, she could have 10, 11 kills right now, and the match would probably be very different. Have to credit LIU to play at the net.
Hancock will set Scott this time. Point. Again. LIU Brooklyn within 1.
They're going to stay in this. There is no reason why they cannot. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they're within the window of opportunity to maybe steal a set from Penn State right now. And it's not even like Penn State's playing that bad. This is just a competitive match between the two. We see Maddie Martin come on for Megan Courtney, an experienced player, a senior. She knows what she needs to do to be effective for this team, as Courtney will get a little bit of a breather here as she's been struggling.
And she's getting quite the talking to from Russ Rose. Another kill from Katie Slay. And that was probably strictly a maneuver taking out Courtney to have a few words with her, calm down the sophomore. Get her head on straight. 14-12. Dom Gonzalez to serve. Foyt off Penn State again.
Just incredible.
12 kills.
Yeah. It's incredible how good she is, Phil. She's 5'9", and she's playing like the biggest player on the court right now. She is very, very impressive tonight.
And we just thought Penn State assistant coach Steve Aird is kind of shaking his head as he stood up after that play. How do you figure out an answer for someone so small having such an impact? 14-13, free ball back over to Penn State. Hancock will set Grant, and she misses wide.
Clear mishit there from Nia Grant, went off the side of her hand. That's just something unfortunate, but ties LIU back up midway through, again midway through a set.
Is to take the lead. It's Assumption. Gonzalez handles. Hancock sets Scott off the block. And LIU couldn't find it in the air. Wyatt and Rice. 15-14 Penn State. Couple of substitutions as Okeke comes back on. Lacey Fuller comes on for Penn State as well. Fuller would serve, 2 digs to her name tonight. Tip over from Riot, and Penn State can't save it as bodies hit the floor. We're tied up again, 15-15.
It's good hustle there from Penn State. That's what Russ Rose wants to see, especially when you're in a situation where your team could approach this a little easier. You could take this as maybe a lesser opponent, but they're hustling on every point. They're playing like this is a big deal. And right now it is if they're tied at 15.
They seemed a little flat-footed there for a while, and Russ Rose just screaming to his team, you got to be ready to play. We have Grant ready to play. Credit another kill for her third tonight. 16-15, Maddie Martin to serve.
Megan Courtney still on the bench here for Penn State. You would presume she would come in after the service from Maddie Martin.
A little bit of a kick in the behind from Russ Rose, you think?
It's a message.
Diving save from Gonzalez, falling on her stomach. Tip over, Gonzalez there again. Hancock sets McClendon cross court, and a diving save from Foyt. She's all over the place. Hancock again for Grant off the block and down.
Let's go back to that set from Micah Hancock. That is a heck of a set. From near side to far side, at least from our vantage point, to get that in the perfect pocket for Deja McClendon to get it over.
There's a reason why she has won Setter of the Year a bunch, Player of the Week. I've lost count 7 times this year. And Jessica Rice comes right back with an exclamation point. 16-17. LIU to serve.
As expected, Megan Courtney comes back on. That's good service, though, from Maddie Martin. She served very well in her sequence there. And Megan Courtney off for about 4 or 5 points. Be interested to see how she responds after getting a little breather.
Does she respond to the benching that Russ Rose gave her in key moments of this match? It's tight here in the second. Hancock sets McClendon. Long. And Russ Rose and his squad is calling for a deflection or something, but it looked like, well, he's calling for now a hand off the net, a net violation. The net was moving after the play, Mike. We did see that, but there was no call. Courtney mishits the serve and just sends a free ball over, just barely clearing the net. Blocked by Hancock, getting up.
That's a good sign for Penn State to have her be able to get a block like that. Not like it's anything out of the ordinary for Micah Hancock, but in the first set and some parts of the second set, Penn State wasn't in the right spots. They didn't make the right reads, and they've been doing it here while LIU has been able to find a way to stay in it.
Grant, as we hear Russ Rose screaming out to Megan Courtney to make a play. She's right there to get the dig. Hancock on too, and puts it right through the hands of Foyt.
Russ Rose knows that Megan Courtney is an important part to this team this year, next year, the year after. Has to continue to stay on her. Do not want her to forget that she is the catalyst for this team, not only now but in the future. I think that's very important in the 35-year building process Russ Rose has been able to accumulate here at Penn State. Have franchise players, and he has almost every year.
Hancock will set. Courtney on the run. Easily handled by LIU. And off the Penn State block. Credit Ignick. (18 serving 19). It's Vinyas Joy. Jump serve never had a chance as it almost hits the back of the head of Okeke.
Looks like me serving out there. I always do that. When I play volleyball, they got to be on the ground because sometimes you go in the back of the head, and that's bad if you do that. That happens to me too much.
You're like the field goal kicker that kicks it into his offensive line.
Yeah, that's me. That's me. I'm like the doubles tennis player that serves in the back of the other teammate's head. I do that too. Very
nice. Micah Hancock serve dug out by LIU. Block kept alive. Hancock takes the first one. Slay sets shot off the block of Ignitz and a point. And Kyle Robinson steps up to take a timeout, trailing by 3, 21-18. Penn State 4 points away from putting the second set away. Don't go anywhere. It's the first round of the NCAA tournament on the Big Ten Network. 21-18. Micah Hancock to serve, looking to put this second set away and get rid of the pest right now that is the LIU Blackbirds, just hanging around.
It's a great way to put it. They are very, very pesky right now for Penn State.
And that won't do it. Hancock service error goes long. 21-19. Drury to cut into the lead. Knuckleballer handled by Gonzalez. Hancock sets McClendon and no one to be found. 22-19 Penn State. Low service, handled by the Blackbirds. And off the block of Megan Courtney. Credit Ignich with the kill. That's her fourth tonight, along with 4 digs. As Ignich comes off and Artisha Jackson comes on to serve. 20 serving 22. They're running out of time to make this more of a ball game because you have to assume once Penn State gets that second set, it's all but over. Katie Slick, 23-20 Nittany Lions.
You look at the numbers for Penn State, that's the balanced numbers Russ Rose is wanting to see. 5 from Scott, 4 from Grant, 4 from Hancock, 5 from Courtney, 4 from McClendon. Those are the numbers you want if you're Russ Rose in any part of the NCAA tournament.
Point block. Megan Courtney kept it alive. Maybe shouldn't have. Almost out of play. And Ariel Scott with the block. And a set point for the Nittany Lions.
They have played much better. The scores might be almost identical from set 1 to set 2, but Penn State has played much better, more continuity on the floor. They've played more consistently. This is absolutely what you wanted to see after the end of set 1 to set 2.
Gonzalez to serve. Diving save from Hancock. And a double contact called. Hancock was upset with the call. It looked like she had her hands together and didn't really use an open hand at all. But set point number 2 for the Nittany Lions. Sydney Asuncion to serve. Hancock, Scott. LIU can handle it. That'll do it. LIU sends it wide, and Penn State takes set number 2, 25-21.
Yeah, that is one heck of a performance from Penn State. Usually when you see a team like LIU, Phil, hang around and be competitive with you, you don't play as well. But Penn State did. That was a much better performance in the second set compared to the first. And LIU pretty much played the same. I am very impressed with Kyle Robinson's team right now. They are playing very, very well in all facets of the game. It just is exactly what we thought. Maybe not in the same way, but Penn State's the better team, and that's the difference right now. They have better players. They have more players that are playing and hitting and scoring for Penn State. On the other side, it's just one player for LIU, and I think that's the difference. Less skill and less depth right now is the difference between these two teams. Otherwise, we could be seeing LIU take a set. I don't think it will be, though, just because of the experience and the skill advantage that Penn State has.
It's been a very impressive performance so far from Kyle Robinson's squad, and as they head to the locker rooms, I'm sure he's telling them that this is nowhere but over. Look, you can play with these guys.
Absolutely.
You can play with them. 25-21, 25-21, the scores of the first 2 sets. Penn State a 2-set-to-none lead here in the first round of the NCAA tournament. We'll break for intermission. Come back for the 3rd set on the Big Ten Network. Start of set number 3 at Rec Hall between the number 2 overall seed Penn State Nittany Lions and the LIU Brooklyn Blackbirds. Penn State taking the first set 25-21, taking the second set by an identical score, Mike Hesse, and it's been rough, but they're where they want to be. They're up 2 sets on what's a team that they should be up 2 sets on.
Yeah, it's certainly not what we expected, at least in the way it happened. But in the end, you're up 2 sets to none. All you want to do is win this. Probably you want to sweep this, win this match, and you're good to go. Now, I don't think it's too much of a knock on Penn State because of 25-21, 25-21. I think it's just you're playing a better opponent than what you should be playing as far as seeding is concerned. This is a very good team. Penn State played probably one of the better sets I've seen them play start to finish in a very long time. It was just a matter of LIU being able to hang in and play with them.
Second set definitely looked a lot crisper for Penn State. Look at second set stats. Well, the big difference that at least, well, both sides improved, but the side-out percentage for Penn State goes from 57 to 72%. And that'll change the course of a match. Micah Hancock opens the third set. Katie Slay almost tries to take the overpass, and Ariel Scott capitalizes.
I think more than any player on the Penn State team, Ariel Scott is able to dominate up front in strings more than any player on the Penn State team. She changes sets, changes matches as far as that's concerned for Penn State. The way she can take 7, 8 straight possessions, just dominate.
Play over, diving dig by Venus Short. A touch on Penn State as it goes over. A point for LIU Brooklyn. Kill before for Ariel Scott was number 6. Look at the rest of the stats from the first 2 sets. Nia Grant 4, Micah Hancock 4, Katie Slay 7. Megan Courtney did not add any kills in that second set. That was a rough set for her. 4 for Deja McClendon. As for LIU Brooklyn, Hoyt with 12. As Katie Slay gets blocked that time by Okeke. Okeke has 3 kills to her name as well, and that's pretty much it. You look, Rice has 2, Ignitz has 3, but Hoyt has been where they've gone. The little 5'9" Energizer Bunny is outplaying the big guns of Penn State.
She absolutely is. She is playing incredibly well for her size.
Hancock sets Scott.
Took out a water bottle.
Almost
right
takes us out. As Kyle Robinson shows his soccer skills and then throws the ball away. 2-2 second set. Deja McClendon to serve. And a kill for Ignitz off the diving Gonzalez. LIU Brooklyn with a lead.
It's just, I don't want to say shocking. I'm a little surprised that LIU has been able to continually match up with Penn State. They've done it the whole entire match.
And I don't know if this is good or bad for Penn State going forward, but you start looking at the next matches. They should get through tonight, as a net violation is called on the Blackbirds, 3 serving 3 for Penn State. As you look forward, maybe, I don't know if it'll cause teams to sleep on Penn State, if you can sleep on Penn State at all. There's a such thing as sleeping on arguably the best team in the country. But maybe it gives other teams more confidence that they can beat Penn State. That Penn State is not as good as everyone thought they were. This was a team that returns everybody. That violation called on Penn State, point to LIU with a 4-3 lead here in the third. But this is a team that returned everyone from last year, but 2 people who weren't really key contributors. And they were Final Four team for number 1 overall seed. Everyone expected them to get back to the national championship, didn't they?
Oh, absolutely. Everyone expected them to be in that spot, and they very well likely could
be.
They
could be. This is not the end of it.
They're just slow in some matches, Phil. We've seen it against Michigan State. We've seen it against Texas. They just don't, some matches don't play complete, fast-paced matches sometimes. It just happens.
Boy, into the antenna.
The other part of that is you can't let that happen in the NCAA tournament. I mean, that has to be out of a possibility.
It's win or go home, obviously. Yeah. They could have been sleeping tonight, and LIU Brooklyn was ready to capitalize. Now, in the end, they're just that much better of a team, and that's no knock on LIU Brooklyn. LIU Brooklyn is a very good team for their level, as we mentioned at the top. They don't play in the Big Ten, though, who had 8 ranked teams going into the tournament. But they need to get something going, because it's been a little bit of a need for them this year that as well as they play, they don't dominate the way they should. And you should dominate. Against teams like Texas, they won't compete.
Right. And with LIU Brooklyn here, I mean, this might be a little better team than we're used to seeing with this seeding, but nonetheless, no matter what happens here tonight, there is no way I see, as we see another great possession from LIU Brooklyn, there is no way, should Penn State get through this, that Russ Rose has 24 hours and he does not get his team ready to go to win a match tomorrow.
Well, we've both got a chance to watch the Yale-Utah match before this. I'll tell you right now, the two teams on the floor here are the two best teams playing in this region. Without question. At least in this location.
Yeah. You know, you see right there on that last possession from Penn State what they can do when they get going. And I don't know what it is tonight. Maybe the reads and the scouting report's good for LIU. They're up there at the front of the net. But if you can get playing like that for a set, I don't think there's any team that can beat Penn State in the country. It just hasn't been there 100% of the time.
Wendell kept alive from Ignich. Could have went long. And he just shoves it into the net. 7-5 Nittany Lions. Kendall Pearson to serve. We've seen her in this role consistently all year. Comes off the bench to put the ball in play. Set for Foyt again. McClendon with the block.
Deja McClendon was right there for that one. Two hands, blocked right into the floor. That's what you like to see at the front of the net from Penn State right now. They're kind of adjusting to what LIU is bringing them because it's been pretty much the same thing through Foyt for the Blackbirds. And if you're Russ Rose, you want to pull away in this set, I feel like. You want to win this one by more than 4.
Block kept alive by LIU. McClendon and a diving dig from Venus Joy. Foyt checks and McClendon's in place. Line 5 Nittany Lions. Pierce with a little top spin. Set Foyt again. Shoves it to the back line, and Pierce runs it down. McClendon. Again.
This is the Penn State team, the way we thought this Penn State team would play right here in the last 5 points. And Kyle Robinson had to know this was coming at some point. I mean, there was no way Penn State was just going to let LIU linger here for a full 3-set match. And has to call a timeout. You have to break this up here. But this is the Penn State volleyball we were expecting, and we probably should get used to seeing for the next 2 or 3 matches.
10-5, Penn State with a 2-set lead and a lead here in the 3rd set. And serving 5, it's Kendall Pierce, sophomore from Eden, New York, the defensive specialist. Probably change that to serving specialist. He gets it big, and Jessica Rice capitalizes on the overpass.
This LIU team in that last timeout, that last huddle, they were getting pumped up. They were ready to go, and it showed there in that first point out of the timeout. They know they probably won't win this match, but I think they really believe, Phil, they can win a set.
Well, we'll see if they have it. If they don't get it here, you have to imagine Penn State will start to pull away with it as they have. And Cox runs underneath and sets McClendon and Foyt right there. And from Roncic to jug out. Foyt will set this down. And Neil Graham, where she needs to be, gets the block, 11-6, Penn State.
Grant and Hancock right there, far side of the court from our vantage point, and that's just perfect execution of being at the top of the net, front of the net, and getting a block. As we said, Penn State leads the nation in blocks per set.
Saved by Foyt. 3-ball over. Penn State extends the lead.
You see Micah Hancock say, let's go. Right now, let's pull away right now. Penn State certainly is playing like they want to do that, and they can do that. For the Nittany Lions, and if you can go ahead, Phil, and win this one, say 25-15 and 25-17 in that range, this is a successful night for Penn State, I think. Because this is a little tougher of a match, I think, that maybe they thought they were going to get from you.
And the Harding serve got quite the ovation from the crowd. A hometown State College product. As the Blackbirds respond. And Harding will come right back off for Grant. 7 serving 12. It's Wyatt's serve.
Jason McClennan's another name we haven't at least discussed a lot tonight, Phil. This is obviously one of the best, if not the best player on this team with Ariel Scott and Katie Slay. And last year in the tournament, we thought that maybe it was going to be her that rode them through the NCAA tournament. She did not play as well. As a team, they did not play as well as they wanted to, especially in the end at the Final Four. But she has had a much improved year to the liking of Russ Rose and to the liking of her teammates as well.
As Kyle Robinson talks to Anika Foyt on that play, she was standing out of bounds, standing out behind the back line, and played Micah Hancock serve. He was a little bit upset with that. Talks to her. Luckily for LIU, they get that point. It doesn't hurt them. Diaz score off the net, but stays in play. Scott off the block. And from the look on the face of Kyle Robinson right now, it looks as if he realizes this is it, this is the point. But every once in a while you see him crack a little bit of a smile as he knows that his team has come in here at a big moment, on a big stage, and played really well. And it's almost a look of enjoy the moment.
Yeah, LIU Athletics feeding us this information. LIU better than Ohio State, Michigan State, Iowa, Kentucky, Indiana, Minnesota, and Iowa this year. Better scores in those first 2 sets. Those are some pretty unbelievable numbers from a team from the Northeast Conference.
As he's hitting there, goes wide from Ignat. McClendon to serve. KK blocked. There we go to Ignat, and she goes off the block.
This is a part of a set, considering the circumstances, third set of a match that you'll probably win, where you go out in situational parts and say, hey, all right, let's attack it this way and see how we respond. Let's improve on this part of our game right now so we can take it into Saturday.
Ignat up the block and a point for LIU. Hold on just a second, Mike. It's 15-10.
Did we expect anything different based on the way they played for the first 2 sets? Absolutely not. They think they can beat Penn State in a set. They think they can.
Whitney makes an appearance on the floor first tonight. Katie Slay off big left point. And another tally for the Penn State end.
Ayanna Whitney's a little bit of a secret weapon. She's a player that missed the whole season last year due to injury. She was very good the year before. She can be very good now. She just can't get herself in the lineup because of the players we've been talking about all night long. But if for some reason she needs to get on the floor, she's more than capable for Russ Rose in tournament play.
And she does a great job of reading that little teardrop attempt and comes back with the kill. Ayanna Whitney right on cue, 17-10, Nittany Lions.
You throw in the players that are on the floor right now, plus Prieto Sarame, Ayanna Whitney, and Megan Courtney, there is an unbelievable depth for this team. And I don't think there's many other programs in the country that can say that that they have 7 or 8 frontline players that can get the job done.
This set may finally look like a national championship.
Absolutely.
We'll step aside. Penn State with a lead in the third set, looking to close it out. Penn State lead, third set here at Rec Hall. First round of the NCAA tournament. Penn State looking to close out in a 2-set lead along with Mike Essing. I'm Phil Constantino. Both teams coming out of the timeout quick there, Mike. They got it started with 50 seconds left on the clock.
LIU was on the floor 18 seconds in to that timeout break.
So we've discussed this about 3 or 4 times tonight, and I've come to the conclusion that Kyle Robinson does not believe in timeouts.
No, he wants his team ready on the floor, ready to go and figure it out themselves, I guess.
One-on-one, blocks the goal of KK. And an 8-point lead for Penn State. They keep extending their largest lead of the night. Gonzalez steps right up to the line, tries to just float it over and catches the tape. 11 serving 18.
Be interested to see, should Penn State push this to say 2018, 22-18, if Russ Rose brings some players off the bench. Wouldn't think it's a possibility once the starters to finish this one out. You got a full 3-set match heading into the second round. But that is also a possibility to maybe get a little more experience from some players on the bench.
Well, interesting he brought in Maggie Harding, knows she's the hometown girl, and maybe want to help the kid live a dream right there, playing the NCAA tournament at Rec Hall. Grew up in this town, so we'll see. And you want to get them experience, you also want to keep your starters going and get that momentum building, because they haven't looked sharp, because they're going to need to play better if they're going to keep moving on.
You also can't forget, if this is a team that could creep right back into it, should that come into play as well. That's a good reaction there from Ariel Scott to get one hand on the ball and get it over. And we'll see Russ Rose go to his bench once again here, Phil, and maybe that's what we're going to see in spurts to get some new players in. Taylor Krause comes on the court.
Another Pennsylvania native, Taylor Krause, in to serve. 5'6" freshman from Allentown. Shoved over by OKK. Penn State handles. McClendon out of the back row. Jurich digs it. Point blocked by Whitney, but out of play. Sunshine back in to serve. Keisha Jackson also back on the floor. 12 serving 19. Gonzalez, Hancock, Whitney, Penn State. Caraway comes in as Whitney comes off.
You see Laura Caraway coming in as well. Another player that comes in serving situations for Penn State. I think Russ Rose is kind of picking up, at least thinking similar as we were. Get your players into serve, because you never know late in the tournament when you're going to need players to come in on service to switch things up, or when a situation like that arises. And we've seen him put, 4 or 5 different players into serve now. That's a good call from Russ Rose, something that could benefit long term. Because when you're in a tough situation, say, on the road in a regional site, and you're a player that comes in for one serving opportunity, you can think back to this moment here and say, yes, I've done it before in this situation. And that's very big for Penn State right now to have that serving depth.
And Taylor Krause a moment ago was put in one of those tough spots, and a learning experience for her. And she turned aside and let it go out of play and made the right decision. 22-12. Penn State a 10-point lead here in the third set. 3 points away from closing out the match and moving on to face Utah tomorrow.
This could be exactly what Russ Rose wants. You obviously want to just clean sweep here. That's what you're going to get. But you had 2 very competitive sets that tested your team, and then you have one where you're dominating. I think that's a perfect combination.
It's a bit of a wake-up call, and maybe that'll work to their advantage. You never know. Coming right back. Let's go right. 23-13. Boyd to serve. She has led everyone tonight. 15 kills, 3 blocks, 7 digs. Mika Polk, the lefty. Courtney sliding, Hancock over on 2 and shoves it wide.
LIU still hanging in, no surprise there. But Penn State really wants to get this finished off here in the next 2 or 3 points probably. You don't want to prolong this thing any longer than you have to.
Playing it off the block, and that'll bring match point for the Alliance. Katie Slay back on. Gonzalez comes off. Tia Grant back to serve. Kyle Robinson still standing there and clapping it up. And encouraging this team down to the final point. Maggie Harding will come on and serve match point. Nice gesture by Russ Rose. 24-14. Harding over. A misplay right away by Artisa Jackson. And that'll do it for this first round matchup. Penn State wins it in 3 sets over LIU Brooklyn.
And that's a fitting ad for Maggie Harding, the hometown player, to get a service ace, the final point of the match. And I think that's perfect for Russ Rose and Penn State for the reasons we mentioned not too long ago. You had to fight in that first set to win it. You had to fight in the second set to win it. And you really had to fight for the first half of that third set, and then you pulled away. You got to get certain players in key situations. You saw Maddie Martin come on, Taylor Krause come on, Kendall Pierce, Maggie Harding, Laura Caraway, and your players, your big-time players, performed and play well. I think that is much better for Russ Rose than to dominate in 3 sets, say 25-10, 25-12, or 25-8, or something like that. I think you like this much more because of what you were able to do inside the match. I think it's going to pay dividends tomorrow against Utah. And you said it, Phil, and I totally agree with you. The 2 best teams out of the 4 that are here in State College were playing right there between LIU and Penn State. Kyle Robinson has one heck of a team.
And Kyle Robinson, the respect shown between him and Russ Rose, and really the stabs of both teams after the game is Russ Rose and Steve Airden. That entire coaching staff for Penn State came over to really congratulate Robinson on a well-fought game and a great effort in a tough environment.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That is, obviously now your season's over, but that is one way to end it. Come and play what some people think is the best team in the country, one of the best programs in the past 5 years, and you gave them a run for their money. There were a lot of people in here after that first set that thought, you know what, maybe this team could beat us in 1 set, and that was certainly a possibility. One heck of a performance from LIU, and it's certainly a good sign for Penn State that they were able to stay positive, play well, and not falter from a team that gave them fits for a little bit in the first 2 sets.
And you know who else is to start getting it done? Megan Courtney did not have a very good night.
Oh, she did not. That's something you have to look at if you're Russ Rose and go, hey, you know, Megan, I'm going to let you know you didn't play well, but you have to put it in the burner, because if she's not playing well in the 3rd, 4th round, Penn State's in trouble. They need her as a piece to the puzzle if they want to go back and get to the Final Four and possibly win one this year.
So lessons to be learned, things to be improved on, maybe a bit of a wake-up call, but in the end, a dominant 3rd set, and Penn State gets it done in straight sets and defeats LIU Brooklyn.